Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. It is September 3rd, right? Inside joke. Anyway, it is Wednesday, the
20th of November.
RationalInvestor.com's Daily
Looks like
Brief.
we're live on YouTube.
It is. So that's good to see. Hello, YouTubers. Hi, Joshua. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Bob. Great to see you guys. Just kicking back. Enjoying an hour of frivolity here in the market. Some stuff moving up, some stuff moving down. Try and manage yourself appropriately and rinse and repeat. Seems the theme of our lives these days. Good old trader's life. So I think I'm screen sharing the dashboard here, but I do have my camera on. I suppose I'll turn that off. But anyway, hopefully you guys are seeing my presentation. And it looks like we have that on YouTube, so let's do this thing. I always like to have the dashboard on here, and as I've said repeatedly in the past, all know TRI is kicking butt and ready to rock and roll when all this stuff is updating in real time. I think this is sort of frozen in time, so don't use any of this stuff to trade off of, please. But, it's just, this is a glimpse at our potential future. So excited. I did notice, little widgets like this that we put in here. This is coming from a third-party source, and it is updating. It's interesting how the sentiment isn't really that optimistic right now. We do have a couple names that are popping higher in the crypto space this morning, so we must be doing something right around here. And actually, I even did take a long on Bitcoin off of the W that came in on OKCoin this morning. Really small little bet. Did want to keep filling this out, and so it's just always a question of have we done this correctly. I created the El Tangonator setup. Yeah, there it is. So this is the little long. It's only 10 contracts, just a little bit of a nibble. Just to get a feel, to see if the market is actually trying to find a bottom off of these AB equals CDs. And, if we lose the lows, then I'm not upset whatsoever. And I'll close out the position, of course. But this is, as you can see, we're still sort of, building this out. It's kind of messy. But the chart setup, you can see the W, and I seem to remember that some site people were hunting longs off of things like ETH and stuff like that. Like I said, it's a little nibble. It's not a hell of a lot of contracts over on OKCoin. I haven't seen this W actually come in on the other exchanges. But I just wanted we'll talk about this more in a bit, but I just wanted to sort of illustrate that we are developer cycle trying to build all this out. And what I'd like to see happen for myself is, these are my bread and butter sort of setups, the bot and the El Tangonator. So as I see setups come in crypto right now, because that's how we can report this, I'll definitely post them, and then things like weekly W's, nanny nibbles kind of stuff. So I've actually got 3 portfolios, little trading plans up and running here, and I'll be sort of working away filling out this. So, what should happen over the next, let's say, 6-8 months kind of idea is anybody who wants to see examples of any of these particular setups in action, you just pop on over here. I suppose I'll journal some comments about the trade as well. But it is, like I said, Wednesday here. Have class here in about an hour, so I'm not going to spend too much time with you guys here today. Class in a little under 2 hours, but won't do any marathons. But you just got the Brian here today. Hopefully I can give you a nice summary of what I'm seeing sort of in the market. Did have one problem develop overnight in one of the shipping stocks, so we should probably talk a little bit about how I'm going to handle my problem. And I did exit out of another shipping stock that I had on a technical breakdown, which makes sense, so we got to talk about those kind of things. I also took a position in a gold stock that I've been talking about a while, so should update you on that. So we got lots to talk about here today. As well as, like I said, took a little nibble off of Bitcoin there earlier today. And, you know, you never know what's going to happen in this crazy market. It's a trader's life. You guys all know that. So, where should we begin the conversation today? You know, broader market breadth. I am noticing that the Dow transports here have, you know, flashed an actual Dow theory sell signal on the stock market. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're actually getting pretty close to some sort of pivot top on stocks. I also noticed too that the VIX index here is trying really, really hard to put in a bottom. You know, level, which class do we do that? I think that was level 3 when we did your incorporating options into your trading plan using that VIX information. Remember how we had that monstrous open interest down there at $11, so they just did not want, you know, people to get too euphoric. And gee whiz, what if you read the news headlines now, the U.S. government's now saying that if a trade deal isn't signed here in the short term, they're going to hit China with really big tariffs. And the sentiment now is like, oh, well, China trade talks aren't nearly as far along as we originally thought. So, also, too, I would suggest that I was actually a little bit surprised because it's not our country, but when I turned on the television yesterday, all of the Canadian news stations and stuff had this U.S. congressional hearing going on, and the lieutenant colonel, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, he was grilled hard yesterday. And if I understand correctly, the main event is the guy who's actually speaking today. I don't have the name off the top of my head. I apologize. You know, Google it, whatever. But I was even surprised that here in Canada, you know, all of our news headlines and everything's all being dominated. Jonas here says Sandlord is his name. So I got a funny feeling that could explain a bit of this sort of malaise in the stock market right now as well. You know, speaking of which, it's not a bad idea for us to check in with the risk on, risk off people. You know, I'm still perplexed about Bitcoin and risk on, risk offness. You know, is this sort of Tom Lee's sort of seeking alpha? Bitcoin isn't correlated. I don't know. Tough to say. It seems to me that the risk-on assets are giving very different messages all over the board. You know, oil fell apart yesterday, but you can see just even as the morning's been going on, oil has rebounded smartly here. As I'd sort of said a few minutes ago, we are starting to get things like Dow theory sell signals in stocks, and VIX index looks like it's trying to bottom. So, you know, you look at that crazy stock index, it was straight up for like literally a month straight. So could we have, you know, a bit of pullback here? I think so. But at the same time, too, remember, markets can remain illogical far longer than any of us can remain solvent. I don't have an M here yet. So as a result, you know, yes, we're getting those Dow theory sell signals. And when we look at the stock market, you can see that, where the hell is it? And it takes me 5 minutes to find the damn chart, so hold on a second. Where are you? You're around here somewhere. There we are. You know, the Dow actually did carve out that outside downside reversal. It wasn't a key reversal, but it was definitely an engulfing bar. The weird thing is, though, you know, literally, I don't see any reason why this ABE equals CD objective can't be hit. Maybe what we need to do here is to set up that final push. Maybe there has to be like an AB and then a pullback. So if we line that up, you know, and actually, you know, it's funny because I've been saying all along that I like the idea of the stock market actually rallying into Christmas, exactly 1 year anniversary from last year's dump. But anyway, that's here nor there. But how do we get this final push up into this level? Maybe the stock market has to maybe like pull back to like something like, I'm just gonna eyeball this, but maybe somewhere back into here, fill in these gaps for that final push up into this AB equals CD target. I don't know, I'm just sort of conjecturing here. So, one day outside downside bearish engulfing bar, market gaps lower here today. Clearly there's a bit of a pause in big Dow stocks. We've been talking about this recently that, the NASDAQ is just insanely strong. And, let's see if we have that sort of disconnect going on here today. Well, it's not so much today, but we've got, you can see this sort of old economy versus new economy. So old economy's on its knees trying to put in some sort of bottom. New economy actually was at new highs on the day, not there that long ago, and as a result, S&Ps, the broader market, is sort of caught in between. So we're still getting this sort of tech outperformance kind of thing here. So, when I look at the S&Ps, like I said, is this thing due for a pullback? For heaven's sakes, yes. But, there is no outright top here just yet. It is interesting how, if we look at this massive channel, I don't know how far back this goes. So this is a channel that's drawn off of, interesting, this high to this low, and then projected off of the top. It's interesting how we banged up against that high there. I don't know whether that's enough of a technical reason to call a top yet or not. And then I think I saw somebody on the site was just playing sort of connect the dots, and they noticed, actually probably if we go there, right, when they noticed boom, boom, and boom. So, symmetrically, could this be a stopping point here? I think so. I don't think it's out of the question. And of course, if anything, the market is set up that if through these congressional hearings and kind of stuff, if somebody drops a bomb, the market's set up that it can dump a big old chunk here and not really do too much technical damage to the market. Maybe it's like, after this big run up, pull back, it's not really like it's broken down. This run up again, new highs, the pullback doesn't really do too much technical damage. So, is there room for us to come off here a bit? I think so. And Dow theory, sell signals, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you've heard me talk about this at length. Problem is, I just don't have a very good looking little M or anything to work with on the S&Ps right now. So, if you just, this is a 4 hour, you can see it's just straight up and then pull back. So, maybe if we can get a nice little M that develops up here, I might go and buy another put. The market that's got me perplexed right now is, of course, the small caps. We've talked about this, recently at length. Really, the small cap market is stuck in this trading range, and it has been basically for pretty much the last year. Just over the short term from that October low, we're sitting in this channel, and you can see we're fighting like the dickens right at this channel. If this thing M's out and we lose these lows, M's on the other side of trend lines, I think we're toast. So, ironically enough, if you want a pretty simple proxy to follow, right, this is the IWM, this is the small cap stock market, the Russell 2000. It's the smallest 2,000 stocks in the Russell 3000, which of course isn't too confusing. But in essence, it represents the small cap market, and I think that's sort of the situation. We'll probably know that the broader stock market is toast if this thing breaks down here. And let's call a spade a spade. Anybody who's interested in trading IWM, maybe Zach, if you're watching this later on, we should take a look at this. Is there a trade here developing? Kind of looks like it, eh? Got this original M up top here. So the structural failure is there. And if you simply drew reload zones, boom, notice, oh gee whiz, what a coincidence. I could very easily see the traders trade, again, the U.S. Congress stuff. Is there any bombshells that are going to be dropped? I could definitely see a trader say, look, you know what, I'll take a shot and go short here. And probably, even if you did Mountain Man, the trade's probably going to set up something like that. So, that's like total Julian style trading, right? 4.5 risk reward. I mean, damn. So, it's there. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Not really the best candle pattern here to work with off the 4 hours, but I definitely can understand the trade. So let's keep an eye on this. In actual fact, you could make the argument with the actual price action right now. The actual trade's just sitting right there. So let's see what happens here. In fact, actually, maybe what we'll do, because it is the level 3ers group tutorial session, so why don't we, if you want to get ready for the level 3 class today, let's all, for a fun assignment, let's go and price the IWM options. We won't be able to do a TRI-SOF, but let's see, anybody who's in the level 3 class, good assignment for you while I'm blabbing away here. Let's see if we can go find an appropriate option and maybe even go on big charts, see if we can grab those options charts, and see if we have any put options on the IWMs that are putting in W's, because I think there might be. All right, so there's your stock market commentary. Woohoo! Individual stories, I'm thinking, and this is why we have a diversified portfolio. Some stocks just keep on keeping on, and really half of my job is just don't get in front of this thing, just leave it alone. I've got a free position, but at the same time too, if you're going to buy W's and you're going to act appropriately, if those W's fail, you got to walk away. So here's an example. Oh, Brian's a genius, look at him, he's so smart. Here's an example. Brian's an idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So, pick your poison. I don't know, but I did buy a little bit of this off of the W down in here, and it broke, and so I had to walk away. And this, if anything, is, kind of like that love, right? Get kicked in the love sack. In this particular case, what is it? Is it LOVE? In this particular case, right, we broke down, and I said, look, I was going to risk against the bottom on the breakdown. I just put my order in at the breakdown level, and you can see I was politely told to walk away. I might even take a look at this thing again, and ironically enough, just go and buy the position back pretty much exactly where I exited. That could very easily happen. So same sort of thing on this bad boy. It breaks the lows. I just got to walk away, and no emotion. So that the love was an example of one where it broke down, and I worked the order at the level, and I exited. Same thing here, but now I have to show you a problem, and these problems happen. I mean, you just got to get used to it. It is a trader's life. So we bought this W, and as you can see, literally right on the open, it gapped lower and it broke the lows. And by the time I actually turned on the screen, it was down here at 50 cents. So, just full disclosure, it just goes to show you just don't know when these things are going to work and when they're not. That KPTI, when they do work, for God's sakes, make damn sure that you get paid. that all your hard work and effort is worth it. And half of our job is, you probably heard me say this before, try and cut your losers and let your winners run. So here's a great example of, half of my job is I'm in a winning trade. Just leave it alone. Just let it do its thing. Here's an example of one where I have to act. Now, the problem is, the good thing about this is it's a fairly liquid asset, and of course it's left a gap here. So my hunch is at some point down the road it's probably going to fill in the gap. Excellent testament to the fact that you just don't know in this game. This son of a bitch could go down and keep going down and maybe go right off the board. You just don't know. So don't ever break that 5% rule, even if it's like thinking about, buying these penny stocks. But, full disclosure, and we'll watch how this develops. But in essence, I have my order to sell working at 63 cents right now. So, this will be really interesting. I don't want people on the site to think I'm like a shill. I don't eat my own cooking. I want you to see trades that failed, and also, too, how Brian's going to handle himself on a problem. Because no doubt about it, this is a problem right now. So, order is working. We'll watch this. It might take a month or two for me to get out of this trade. Very possible. It might finish at this level by the end of today. But I will sort of, just as a demonstrator of best practices, how does Brian handle being wrong? First and foremost, for God's sakes, don't put too much money into any one of these ideas. And penny stocks are just as volatile as crypto. It's, high venture cap. So understand what you're getting involved with in this game. Oh boy, that's a fun conversation, but unfortunately it had to be had. Wanted to show you a buy that I did here this morning. I've been sort of talking about it recently, that, we're coming into the time of the year where I actually like the idea of taking nibbles on gold stocks and metal stocks. And I've been talking to you guys recently about this Alio. It's come basically right back down into key support area. So I can start thinking about, you can see where reload zones are here. And, I've shown you repeatedly how Bitcoin loves to pivot off of its 78.6. And so it's really interesting to watch the price action through here. And I do acknowledge that there's a gap here, and really I don't think this trade per se gets going in earnest until we clear through this 87. But seeing this price action down here, I actually liked what I saw. And if we actually change this to a weekly chart, really all I did was I just stepped in and I bought the Harami on the weekly chart. So this high on the Harami bar was 80 cents, and I paid 81 for my stock here this morning. So just an FYI on this, and I think I'm probably going to just simply risk to a break of this 73. If it fails, I'll walk away, no big deal, next bus in 10 minutes. If I'm lucky, we can get this W here to confirm. Once that confirms, then I'll feel a lot more comfortable, and I may even just work some reload zone bids to add to the trade. But just an FYI, I went and bought a few $100 of this stock here this morning. As well, there's another metal stock that I'm probably, I like the idea of picking it up. It's this XPL. It's a zinc play. Not a bad looking chart. That's a little suspicious over there though. But I did like sort of W's within W's here. Not too much stock out. Pretty good drill results. So I'm watching that one. If this guy does W, I might just go pull the trigger there. And our TRI-SOF meeting last night, Casey mentioned here's another gold stock, a junior gold stock that he's really interested in right now. This actually was one of our VCIM names from years gone by, and you can see, old dead stock, and look how they're sort of converting it into a new trading vehicle here. This is like the evolution of trading. We would say this is block trading. Avoid it. They rolled the stock back. I don't know how to get those little indicators. It's so bizarre. Some of my charts have the little split and earnings and dividend reference, and some don't. And I can never figure out what it is that I have to click to make sure that they load. But anyway, this stock was rolled back. I mean, you can see a big old gap higher. Comes back down. Has it filled in the gap entirely here? I don't know. But this is an interesting little gold stock that really makes sense, VCIM wise, and then also too. I mean, gee whiz, just the rolled back stock. I mean, geez, you could get a rally up into 30 cents here, no problem, if this guy has any half decent drill results. So, an interesting gold name for you to chew on that we talked about last night in the TRI-SOF club meeting. As well, wanted to mention, we are building out our sort of list of acceptable blockchain stocks to invest in, and we've been watching this one, and Shane's been watching it. Trades on the Calgary Exchange, so caveat emptor, but in essence, they just rolled the stock back. A nice, friendly 25 shares for one. Kaboom! So this thing had a bazillion gazillion shares out. Now it's got nothing out. So chart setting events. All right, thank you, Peter. But anyway, so you can see on this chart, it shows it. On the other chart, I have no idea why it doesn't. And they're the same damn fucking chart thing. I don't get it. Anyway, my apologies for swearing there. Chart settings. Anyway, we'll deal with it later on. Couple other names that came out of the meeting that we're going to keep a close eye on. This NL Industries looks really interesting. Weekly W's. We'll keep an eye on that. We're just sort of pricing out options right now. Montage Resources, MR. Hopefully everybody can see the nice, if we change that to a weekly chart, you can see the weekly W. Right, that's good old weekly W. So any kind of pullback on this guy into support, we definitely want to take a look at him. So there are some new interesting names to chew on in this space, and then, like I said, I don't think this is ready to be bought yet. And I look at a lot of the blockchain stocks and gotta say, guys, I just don't see any. Does anybody see a W there? Yeah, might as well call a spade a spade. Is there a W there? No. So, nothing there. How about Hut? Is there a W there? Oh, maybe. Let's keep a close eye on Hut. If he can W out here, we definitely might be interested in that. It's not quite there ready yet, just yet. How about Mr. What the hell is this? Novogratz. We got a W there. Boom. Well, one day a bull market doesn't make, but at least that's encouraging to see. So I don't think I'm quite ready to be looking for bottoms on crypto names yet, but as I had said just a second ago, super excited that this guy now has rolled the stock back, and whatever it's worth, Shane really likes the story here. Let's get options to directors, shares for debt. They have quite a few warrants outstanding, so I have to figure out what the price of those warrants is. Hopefully you can see these gaps right up in this area here. That's 425, and the stock's sitting at 15 cents. $4.25. It's sitting at 15 cents. How about this gap? $9.49. It's sitting at 15 cents. So, caveat emptor. If you went and picked up a little of this, what are the odds of you getting a double just to, sell half on a double, get a risk-free position? I think pretty good. Now we just want to start seeing the story develop, right? Options to directors, shares for debt kind of stuff. And let's keep a real close eye on this. This should be a good one for Canadians and those interested in crypto stories. Okay, so that's sort of stock markety. Interesting to see. The gold's still fighting at that 38.2. And interesting to see yen. Yen never really got going here. So, we might see a little bit further to go there. I don't know. Stock market hasn't totally topped out. We're kind of in this almost like twilight zone right now, I think. I did notice some of the, I don't know, some of the, yeah, that's what I thought. Some of the natural gas names and energy names that I was interested in recently, they dipped down, but I didn't get any fills, which kind of bummed me out. So I don't know whether you want to join me on these kind of names, but this Gulfport, I had my bid right down here, no fill for you. Jerks. And then this REI, same thing. I have my bid down here, no fill for you. So, if you're interested in joining me, keep an eye on those energy stocks. GPOR is questionable, right? They had a pretty nasty earnings result. This REI had a beautiful earnings report, so it doesn't surprise me this guy just came back to Mountain and said, no way, man, I want up. So, that's sort of the situation there. Keep an eye on these pot stocks here. Obviously, throwing the baby out with the bathwater on a lot of these names. I heard overnight that, number one, there's supposed to be a big vote in the U.S. Coming up here soon on federal legislation with regard to marijuana. So we might find that there's a bit of sort of buy the rumor, sell the news kind of scenario there. And then also, too, I thought it was kind of interesting that I think it was Canopy, GCG. A big U.S. brokerage house came out and upgraded the stock yesterday. And notice, just as we said off the Dow, that was an outside-downside engulfing bar. This is an outside-upside engulfing bar on Canopy. So, unfortunately, this was probably somebody knew about that upgrade coming. And the only way you could have been in on this thing is had you bought the stock heading into the close yesterday. So, there's not really much trade-wise you could do there. But, it's nice to see that at least the bloodletting has abated here on the pot stocks. This HEXO, for example, that's, I think, an engulfing bar. Yep, opened lower, closed higher. Not quite a key reversal, but still, signs of bottominess. The sector's just been absolutely destroyed here recently, so it doesn't surprise me a little bit of dead cat bounces. I don't really have anything to get me all excited on the buy side, V bottoms, all that. But I will say, anybody who missed this sort of David's T bus earlier in the years, beautiful AB equals CD. Our options, unfortunately, didn't really do anything for us. But if we think reload zones, and I, for whatever it's worth, I own the stock too. But notice, while all the others were getting absolutely destroyed, all David's T did was just simply back up into a reload zone. So, interestingly enough, actually, if you missed the original move on this thing, I think it's basically giving you an opportunity to sneak in here. You want to wait for maybe like inside bar or some sort of, W off of the daily charts. Notice it looks like there's a little bit of a gap down in here. It's totally fine by me. But, if you are interested in the pot space, I think it actually makes more sense to try and hunt names that actually do have bottoms working and that haven't technically broken down, and all they're doing is just backing up into reload zones. So, this cheeky little gap here is still open. I suppose you could argue there's one down there. Looks like there was a little bit of a gap here that they're filling in right now. You might want to A, B, C, D, maybe work some stink bids down against this gap kind of idea. Or like I said, you want to wait for an actual bottom to come in. Totally fine. But, don't lose focus with this guy, because I think, he's one of these sort of pot names that it's the edible markets, and if this pot movement is for real, and if something like federal legislation comes out in the states, this guy I think could still have a lot of room to move up. So something to think about. Right. Okay, let's head on over to crypto now. The fundamental story I don't think has really changed. I do still very much like the idea for higher time frame players. Where are we here? I think it was this one. Nope, not that one. Where are we? You'd think I'd get all my shit together before I do these presentations, but nope. Brian totally wings it and looks like an idiot sometimes. No, I don't think it's off of those. Is it over here? No. Darn. Oh well. I have a nice pretty little Bitcoin summary chart that I've been showing on the presentations of, I thought it was this one. The no man's land and all that kind of talk. Let's see. Maybe it is. Nope. Fudge. Anyway, suppose. I really want to start with that one. Gee whiz. Why are you fighting me? Damn. Maybe it was here. Nope. Fudge. Here? No. Darn. Here it is. Jeez, screw my head. There we go. Okay, so once upon a time, in land far, far away. I don't know whether we can assume that just yet, but we will keep that on there. So, higher time frame players, and I really think everybody, it's super important that you respect this. We're caught in a very sort of dicey area on the price charts. We have our market structure fails. Market did dump, counter trend rally back into fails, inside bar. Now, because it left such a big tail here, I can completely understand that, there's going to be, there was buying interest in this tail. This tail didn't finish the way that it did because there was no buying interest. Somebody was buying in here. And then also, too, think about it this way. There probably were people that strapped on shorts, they got caught, and they were like, oh, just turn the screen off, right? Oh, I don't care. Just get me out. Or not get me out. I've had enough. And then price works its way back down into their short levels if they could handle the margin calls. And they're just like, oh, phew, right? So that's that whole sort of trapped bears kind of conversation. The exploration back into this tail is, in essence, their permission to get out at scratch or even a small loss and just walk away. So I can understand that there is going to be a bit of a fight in here, but we have to keep in mind that this is not a good higher time frame trade location. It's not like, when we're sort of trading away in our accounts and stuff, we ideally want to pick like the highest probability, especially if you're new to this game, because you're going to be like really, really stressed out about losing money. And if you're not into that sort of pattern that it's actually okay to lose money, well, you're going to be like, oh my God, I really want to make sure I have the highest probability of success. I'm telling you right now, everybody, taking trades in here, that's not that kind of conversation. And now, in essence, I think you can make the argument, just this little fib here, that is our trading range. So bottom end of the range is about 7,200. Top end of the range is about 10,500. In essence, like what I'm sort of seeing here is about 2,500 bucks below 10,000, and perks up into and just above 10,000 are met with serious selling pressure. And it makes sense. I mean, also too, remember institutional fingerprints. There's clearly somebody who's got a vested interest off of this level here. So, but understand, this is extremely dangerous trading. And, I would like, especially, people that are doing 7-day trials and, people that are maybe just decided to pay for a membership. Please understand that that's the backdrop that we're approaching everything at right now. Don't fall in love with either bullish or bearish calls through this area. It's don't get married to positions, right? Either being short, we're shooting for reload zones to the downsides off of inside bars, okay. And then I'm going to buy a long off of the bottom end of this range, looking for a move back up, okay. But don't be in love with it, and don't be heartbroken if you see both this high here probed and this low here probed over the next little while. Don't be shocked at all. That's the backdrop of the Bitcoin conversation right now. Also too, seasonally, heading into the end of the year, keep in mind that anybody who bought Bitcoins now, really, I think you could actually make the argument anywhere sort of post May, they're actually underwater right now, except for maybe the lucky people that bought in here. So, people bought GBTC and all that kind of stuff. Could they be incentivized to sell down market into the end of the year just for tax loss selling purposes? Totally possible. And of course, remember, this is unfortunately where the public came in on the long side. So they're actually substantially underwater right now. So could we see some tax loss selling pressure into the end of the year? It's completely understandable. So, that's the big backdrop right now. I'm not like a uber ridiculous bull here. At the same time, too, traders got to trade. We just trade setups. I was really interested, the first thing that jumps out at me, and I actually, so like I said earlier, was on the site, I really wanted to get the Eltangonator going because this is one of our bread and butter setups, like in the library. So, and I did see some people trading range setups, Eltangonator. In essence, what I want to see is I want to see a pretty wide price range. And clearly, this recent dump in Bitcoin has created that really wide price range where a nice bounce back to the 50% roll, which really isn't rocket science. It's not asking a hell of a lot. But at the same time, too, it represents a fairly sizable move. And then, of course, can I see signs of divergence in momentum and volume indicators? Can I get a polite W to actually frame my risk? And then if we get that move back to the 50% roll, does it represent more than twice the risk that I'm taking? And that's basically what Eltangonator is. So I did see a lot of people on the site were posting that they were hunting long setups off the test of these lows. Where's the hell chart I want to show you? I guess this one here is fine. And really just looking nothing more than, the AB equals CD that set up this move down into these two harmonic levels, right? I'm just going to use that, the AB CD. So the CD leg here, if I just simply draw a 50% rule off of that, if I can get any kind of W off of these harmonics, then, what kind of risk reward does that paint? And interestingly enough, the numbers come out actually pretty respectable. It's a 3-to-1 risk reward, just buying the W. So in essence, that's basically the trade. And then, of course, if we throw on things like momentum indicators, I actually, believe it or not, I actually think the trade itself actually fired here. Right, there's the W, down, up, down, breakout. So what was going on with our momentum indicators? This is kind of sloppy. I've got RSI and only the moving average of Willie. But we can just put the full Willie on here. The full Willie. Actually, maybe that doesn't help too much. Let's go. We don't really need the indicator, but what I wanted to show was the oscillator. There we go. And what do we got here? 39, so that's over on this pane. Yeah, okay. So it's interesting, through this move here, you can see a really nice looking divergence here in just Willie. I mean, Willie has actually been in divergence for quite a while. I had this very wide move, but notice we actually had a really cute little divergence on the sort of backside of this move down in here. And then also notice too, we had this beautiful volume breakout, so actually there was a divergence in OBV as well. So I got lots of signs of divergence here. And actually what's kind of cool, I mean, you can see it, and I'll probably, when I journal entry this kind of stuff, but you can see the divergences that caught my attention. And then, these big divergences all sort of confirmed on this push, which actually was that double bottom breakout move there. So I liked what I saw, right? In this case, we have a volume and price momentum and a cute little div there in MACD. Not really, solid. What I really want to see is I want to see the MACD, the moving averages, bust up through this high. Then I'll know that this was a MACD div, but it wasn't. But really good example of, Willie, actually, ironically enough, massive divergence on Willie's stupidness here. If we put him away and we show the RSI, you can see again, just like on that MACD, cute little div here, and then big breakout on the RSI right there. And actually really nice divergence here as well. I don't know whether you guys can see that. So in this particular case, we have price making lower lows, but RSI making higher lows. See that? Isn't that cool? So I had some reasons to actually agree with the team that I think actually there was a bottom there. Now, this is a great example. Like, we'll talk more about it in a bit, but like sometimes I'll work bids at reload zones and look like an absolute genius. Woohoo! Look at these awesome fills. Sometimes I'll just buy the W, and I look back after reload zones and I go, oh, fuck me, man. I should have had the goddamn bids working there. But I'm still feeling pretty good. So, I mean, the W was right. If you employ reload zones, I think you get some pretty sick levels to buy off of. And I think I kind of noticed that on this Bitcoin. Why am I mentioning all that? Well, I kind of noticed this on this Bitcoin trade. If we go, notice this reload zone off of this range, right? If I had drawn on the double bottom and then just worked my bids, if I even just like Mountain Man, not even gotten greedy, but you could also done the line in the sand there. You see, just get some absolutely insane fill levels. So, there's the trader's trade. Sort of, dinosaur old man Brian. I don't mind. I bought the W, and I'm actually more than happy if we do get a pullback down into these lows to actually add to the trade. So just an FYI. What's I take it easy, Jonas. Nice to see you again. So just an FYI, Brian did go and pick up a little bit of Bitcoin here. It's a very small trade. I mean, like staggeringly small. I'll add And very simply put, if you see a print here on OKCoin forwards below 8,066, then that means Brian's gone. Okay, so that's sort of the Bitcoin situation right now. Actually, I don't mind people actually, hunting setups. But keep in mind, look at the time frame that this is. Even if we change this to a 1 hour chart, right? There is the W. But this is not little old lady kind of trading, right? This is like El Tangonator. I've got very specific risk levels, entry levels. I have very specific risk levels where if the market trades to it, I'm gone. And I have very specific target levels. The only thing I'll probably do to change this, like I said, I'll be happy to buy some more on this potential bottom, and then of course risk to the lows, which will bring my average cost down. But the only thing I'm probably going to think about is if I get to about half of the anticipated trade, or basically a trade back up into this trend line, then I'll probably move my stop to scratch if that level's hit. But, just FYI, Brian went and actually strapped on along here. And what I really want to try and do is fill out these trade portfolios, and I want this to be a nice, full, robust database for you guys to go and look. What do these El Tangonators look like? So, wish me luck, everybody. If you are in the trade with me, awesome. If not, no biggie. It's kind of cool when you look on Coinbase. I mean, you can see the W here in the cash market trying to come in. It's interesting how the forwards markets are kind of leading this a little bit. If these W's off the cash market come in, it'd be, interesting how it is off of sort of these AB equals CD levels. And like I said, for the purposes of this little trade, I'm not even really looking for a massive rally up top. Ironically enough, if we look at something like Coinbase, it's probably just, a test of... Actually, I did it off the original AB equals CD, didn't I? So that CD leg, on the cash market, could we explore up into this wick? I think that's completely realistic. That's the original breakdown levels from these levels here. I don't see any reason why that can't happen. So there you go. It is interesting to see, for whatever it's worth. This is one perspective, El Tangonator. But it is interesting to see how, I want to be a day trader. Looks like I want to be a day trader is about to get stopped out here. But, live by the sword, die by the sword. This guy here, over this past bear run, look at these results. I mean, they're just stunning. 21 trades, 13 winners, and we're just assuming that you want to try and make $100 on a winning trade, lose $50 on a losing trade. Plus 1,300 in the winners. 4 losers have $50 a piece, minus 200. 3 scratch trades, 1 open trade. So this might turn into, in fact, I suppose we should wait for it. But the high there is 81.41. So our stop should be 81.41.5. Oh, there it is, 81.41.5. And we've hit a high here, 81.38. Oh, I can't book the loss just yet. But anyway, it's just an excellent analogy, an excellent anecdote of, what a trader's life looks like. I hope you guys have enjoyed me sort of just walking you through this. What does a day trader's life look like? And the irony of it all is the day trader's not even looking at any of the, Bitcoin moon, Bitcoin zero kind of conversation. Not even the slightest bit interested, just in there hunting the setups, right? In this case, 3 higher time frames all agree in direction, and then just take every goddamn fractal 2-to-1 risk reward, move stop to scratch on 50% of the anticipated move. And just live with the results. And what do you think? Could you guys make a living off of that? It's not bad numbers. And I mean, you can always, morph this. Maybe your particular trading plan, you're going to look to make $200 and risk $100. I don't know. I mean, really, this is just an illustration purposes. Fascinating demonstration. This has been a really good exercise for me, and it just really drives home the fact that put your opinions away, just trade your setups, and if the setup is vetted and it works, the results will speak for itself. All right, so if anything, OKCoin, we'd like this. Actually looks like it's turning into an interesting little cup and handle here. So I could see a nice little pop here on Bitcoin. Yeah, it really wouldn't surprise me. And now, interesting, I want to be a day trader actually is now back on the sidelines. You can see how the background color just changed there. So, come on, Bitcoin, rally, Bitcoin. Now we want to see up. The only other thing that I'll just sort of leave off with is really a good demonstration here of just, again, working your craft. I mean, I had no idea what was going to happen on this storage. Certainly didn't expect that. But, just follow the plan the trade the plan. If we do get up into sort of 3,200 area on this thing, I'll let half of the position go. Just establish that risk-free trade. And I don't know, you guys tell me, have I got a shot? Is there a chance this thing could get up into 3,200 area? It's just a really, really good example. I mean, I had no idea that this thing was going to act this way. And you might find by the end of the day, this will be one big-ass honking green candle, or it might just turn into a shooting star and have to come back down against the bottom. You never know in this crazy game. So, here today, really good example. A couple winners, couple losers. You're just managing your book. Make sure all your orders are appropriate. Follow your trading plans and just rinse and repeat. Was interesting, for those people that, I've been watching this one closely, and it's kind of, I don't know, I guess for some stupid reason I like these guys. They are only on Trek, so of course, be cognizant of that. And I think Alex was trying to create a relationship with a Canadian exchange to get listed on them as well. And that Canadian exchange just blew up. So you want actually, and it's interesting how it keeps happening here in Canada. But Einsteinium or Einstein Exchange, I'm not quite sure what the hell the name of the place is, but from what I understand, they are in a bit of hot water right now. And interesting how this story is very similar to the Quadriga story. So are they tied up with them? I don't know. But if you are interested in this UBIC, now we're starting to get like W structure on the other side of this trend line. You can see reload zones, but buyer beware. It's one of these crazy tricks sort of stories. Yeah, I think that's about it I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Keep an eye on this auger. Kevin and I were going through the rags earlier today. Why is this auger moving up? And it's funny. People write these news articles. Why is auger moving up? And in the article, the guy says, "Well, it's uncertain why the coin is moving up." It's like, oh, thanks, but it is, So weekly W's for the win. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the names that I've talked about here recently, it's just sort of, broken record. This EOS seems to be coming back down into a reload zone, so if you are interested in that, you can see the wicks and tails and all that kind of conversation, so keep an eye on that guy. And I think that's about all I wanted to talk to you. This Vibe, right? Really interesting weekly level. I think I was talking to the public about that. That Netcoins, if you're interested in penny stocks, keep an eye on that. The gold stocks, thank you Casey for his MFM idea, Marathon. And then of course, like I told you, I went and picked up a little bit of this Alio, and I do like this XPL as a zinc play. And I think that's about all I got to say here today, guys. And keep an eye on things like David C if you're interested in pot stocks. Maybe we can start Wing out here on some of these bigger pot names. Okay, Okay, guys, and then, of course, half your job, like we said earlier, is once you get into a winning trade, try as hard as you can just to leave it alone. Just let the thing run, because sometimes, man, the sky's the limit on these names. Okay, that is past the top of the hour. Hope you guys got some value out of the presentation today. A nice little walk through the market. We'll leave it at that. Kevin and I will head off and do our daily brief recap. Have any questions? Of course, I'm only a PM away. I guess we have class here in about 50 minutes. And, of course, everybody has their assignment on that IWM. So when I see the level 3ers in class here today, we're going to have lots to talk about. Right? All right. Take it easy, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.